When it comes to identifying the enemy, few ships are as recognizable as the Klingon Bird of Prey. As Matt Jeffries stated while creating the original D-7 battlecruiser in the late 1960s, his goal was to make a ship with a distinct appearance and design as recognizable as the Starship Enterprise. The Klingons have been represented in the Star Trek world as far back as the original series. Since then, many classes of ships have been known to us, but today I'm going to focus on the Bird of Prey. There are different classes of this type of vessel, and believe it or not, the ship was actually first designed to be a Romulan ship. This is why there are red, feather-like armor markings under the wings. We originally had seen the Bird of Prey in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. This was ultimately responsible for the destruction of our beloved Enterprise refit. It was commanded by Commander Kruge, who took it upon himself to attempt to steal the secrets of Genesis, a project Kruge thought could be used as a weapon. Ultimately, that Bird of Prey would be taken over by Admiral Kirk and his crew. The Klingon ship would return for Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. After leaving Vulcan, Admiral Kirk and his crew, while aboard the taken Bird of Prey, discover that the Earth is under attack by a huge probe. Signals are directed at Earth's oceans, and as a result, a disruption in the weather pattern starts to tear the planet apart. They manage to go back in time and bring back two humpback whales named George and Gracie. And after returning to Earth, the ship lands in San Francisco Bay after it flies beneath the Golden Gate Bridge. That scene proved to be very difficult for Industrial Light and Magic. Supervisor Jeff Mann had built a tank to recreate the stormy weather as the Bird of Prey landed. The use of wind machines, fog machines, and water sprayers were used. The filming model of the Bird of Prey would be pulled across the screen using a wire, and a section of the ship was also built to be placed in the water as the crew would escape the sinking ship after the hatches were blown, allowing the whales to be freed. In Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, we are introduced to a different Bird of Prey, which incidentally was the first Klingon vessel across the Great Barrier. The ship was commanded by Captain Kla, who was on a mission of self-promotion, sought to destroy the Enterprise for personal valor. Ultimately, his superior officer aboard the Enterprise put a halt to his personal quest. Kla would later admit that he was not authorized by his government to attack the Enterprise. In fact, it would be Mr. Spock who would be manning the disruptor cannons that would destroy the entity that was pursuing Admiral Kirk on a planet thought to be Shakari. In Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, we are introduced to another type of Bird of Prey. The one featured in this film was a prototype that could actually fire while cloaked. Commanded by General Chang, the ship would be responsible for the attack on Kronos 1 and the death of Chancellor Gorkon. The ship would later be destroyed by the USS Enterprise A as well as the Excelsior. At the time, the Excelsior was commanded by Captain Sulu. This took place at First Kittimer Conference, where an assassination attempt was to be taken on the Federation president. After Chang's Bird of Prey was destroyed, the attempt was thwarted. In Star Trek Generations, we are introduced to Dr. Soren. He is desperate to get back to his perception of home and rejoin his family. We learn of a Nexus ribbon that would make that possible. It would be through Dr. Soren that we would be introduced to the next Klingon Bird of Prey. Dr. Soren would be transported up by the ship to escape custody, and he would take Geordi LaForge as a hostage. After implanting a bug in the engineer's visor, he would be allowed to rejoin the Enterprise D and its crew. It was through the cameras in his visor that the Klingon sisters, Lursa and Bitor, were given the frequency of the Enterprise D's shields. From the House of Duras, these sisters gave the order to fire at will at the Enterprise NCC 1701D. With the frequency known, the photon torpedoes would go right through the Enterprise shields and defenses. Yet another Klingon Bird of Prey would be responsible for the destruction of a Federation flagship called Enterprise. The Enterprise would be able to destroy the Klingon ship before being drawn into Veridian 3's atmosphere and crashing on the surface. First Officer William T. Riker would also serve aboard a Klingon Bird of Prey known as the POG. This was due to an officer exchange program the Federation had with the Klingon Empire. Unknown to the crew, a corrosive bacteria had started eating away at the ship. Thinking this to be a weapon of the Federation, the captain would order an attack against the Enterprise. Ultimately, Riker would assume command after putting his emergency transponder onto the Klingon captain. He would order the surrender of the Enterprise as the Pox captain, and Captain Picard would comply. Ultimately, the bacteria would be neutralized, and Riker would return to the Enterprise. While facing two Romulan warbirds, the Enterprise would be aided by decloaking birds of prey, which would surround the warbirds, neutralizing the threat. We would also see the Klingon Birds of Prey in Star Trek, the Next Generation episode Yesterday's Enterprise. A time rift in space was created, causing the USS Enterprise C to jump into the future and encounter the USS Enterprise D. After going through the rift, the timeline would be altered. In this timeline, the Federation was at war with the Klingon Empire. The Federation would be on the brink of defeat. It was decided to send the ship back to her own timeline period in an attempt to avoid the costly war. It would be Klingon Birds of Prey attacking the Enterprise D, while the Enterprise C traveled towards the eventual timeline rift. Ultimately, the Enterprise C would return to her own timeline, and all was restored and the war would be avoided. In Star Trek Deep Space Nine, we see Klingon Bird of Prey, Makar, which would be commanded by Commander Kabok. There is also Commander Kern's Bird of Prey, the Heta, as well as others. Mr. Worf would also serve as first officer aboard one, while serving the Klingon Empire under the command of Captain Martok. This is just a few examples of the Klingon Birds of Prey throughout the Star Trek universe. No doubt I have missed several examples, but I hope this small piece was both informative and entertaining. Hello again, my friends. I'd like to welcome you to another video, another Star Trek video, my favorite subject, and another one of my favorite subjects, AMT models. I recently showed you the USS Yamaguchi, and what I'm going to show you guys today is we're going to switch over to the Klingon Empire. Again, it's going to be AMT, Ertl, and we're going to be focusing on the Klingons in this episode. And specifically, we will be focusing on the Bird of Prey. This is the 1/350 scale Klingon Bird of Prey. And I'll tell you what makes this one special in a minute. But when I see this, the box art, I always think when they're coming back, either they're entering Vulcan's atmosphere or they're leaving Vulcan with the ship, Commander Kruger's ship that they had captured, Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. And right now, you can see them flying through Vulcan. I'm assuming this is Vulcan. It looks like Vulcan to me. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what it appears to be to me. So we got the 1/350 scale Klingon Bird of Prey, and it's pretty, let's see, I'm trying to think of the year of the first release. I don't have the first release, but that release is the same as this kit. It's the same molding, the same instructions, everything is the same as this one. What makes this one a little bit unique is the fact that, I don't know if you can see on the box art, it looks to be like a circle behind a Klingon Bird of Prey. Well, what that actually is a huge acrylic disc that's clear. And when you make the ship, you put it in. I'm going to see if you can actually see the way it goes in. It kind of holds the ship. But what that does is make it look like it's in flight. So this one is the Klingon Bird of Prey flight display model. Again, this is the same as the 1/350 scale, but it does have the additional base. It's got like a dome, a round circle dome, and it's got a slit down the middle, and it's got a really large acrylic disc, and that goes into the slot. And then when you finish the model, it goes through. and kind of gets supported by the disc, and it looks like it's actually flying. So pretty cool. So let me go over this with you. You can see the beautiful box art on the front of the box. Again, it looks like it's on the planet Vulcan. Let's take a look at the side. We've got the AMT Ertl Star Trek Klingon Bird of Prey flight display. And you can see another illustration. I think that's actually the finished model. You can put it either landing or taking off. Again, you can see the 1/350 scale Klingon Bird of Prey. This is a really cool concept. They do have a couple of models with the acrylic disc. They have one where they're actually different enterprises in a simulated flight. That one's really cool. So let's take a peek at the ends of the box. Get some more information. AMT Ertl. And that looks like the illustration that's on the cover. And you can see the barcode. Let's see if both ends are the same. A lot of times the AMT kits are the same on both sides. Let's see. With the exception of the barcode, and this is kit number 6339. And again, we've got that illustration that's on the cover. Really nice. Okay, let's take a peek on the other side of the box now. You can see in English, Star Trek. This is from Generations. Klingon Bird of Prey measures 10 inches long and has a 16-inch wingspan when assembled. 29-centimeter clear flight display disc base, Star Trek badge. Includes decals to replicate the Klingon Bird of Prey. Features over 45 highly detailed pieces, paint and cement not included. And again, it's got it in all the different languages going across the board. And this was released in 1997. So this was claims from Star Trek Generations. I'm trying to remember Generations where we have the picture of the Bird of Prey on a planet's surface. I still think this is on Vulcan. But that's just my opinion. Everybody's got their own opinion. And I'm trying to remember the Klingon Bird of Prey, trying to bring Generations up in my memory banks. The Klingon Bird of Prey was first introduced to us, let's see, in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. We see the Klingon Bird of Prey, commanded by Commander Kruge. He buys on the black market the secret of Genesis, and he proceeds to Genesis to steal the secrets. They end up destroying the Grissom, and of course, the Bird of Prey plays a major role in the destruction of the USS Enterprise, NCC 1701 refit. We do see the Klingon Bird of Prey in the series. We see them in Star Trek The Next Generation. And I want to say we see them in Deep Space Nine as well. Voyager, I remember it was a different class of Klingon ship. I don't know if it was the Bird of Prey. I could be mistaken. But I think Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, I think those are the only ones where we see the Bird of Prey. I might be mistaken, and I probably am. If I correct myself, then I'll put it up in the link or I'll put it in the description. But this is the Klingon Bird of Prey, and like I said, it's straightforward, the build from the original kit. I don't have the original release of this, but I will put it up for you. And of course, like I usually do, I'll show you everything that's included in this kit. Again, the ship is made the same way, and this is in 1/350 scale. And with the model, I think you can put it in landing mode, or you can put it flight mode or attack mode. But when it comes to this one, You only want it in flight mode because it's got to be able to go and be supported in the disc. And it's like a slot that's in the disc. And what you do is you're going to build the wing. That would be the port side wing. You're going to put the cannon on. You're going to get everything ready. Then you're going to push it through. And then you're going to attach it to the ship. And then you're going to glue it. Because it's not big enough to put the cannons with the disruptors on. Or you could build the whole ship and see if you can finagle that through and then put the disruptor cannons on and see if that'll work. And it's got the nice the detailing where you've got the armor, which resembles feathers, and you've got the coil areas where the wings can retract up and down. I'll show you guys the bridge section, the photon torpedoes in the front. The Bird of Prey is really a cool ship. I mean, I hate it only because, well, let's face it, it was the destruction, led to the destruction of my favorite ship in Star Trek. So I got kind of a grudge against this ship, but it is cool. You gotta admit, it really is cool. And I have shown you the Diamond Select versions of the Klingon Bird of Prey. I've actually showed you the Playmates version of this as well. Unfortunately, the electronics in that one did not work. I should pull that one back out and attempt to fix it, or maybe take it apart and try to see if there's a loose wire or something. There's a lot of things that I'm going to redo for you guys because a lot of my older videos, the video quality is just horrible, and I apologize for that. Now with the video editing software that I have and the new cameras, everything is so much better. So this one, I just wanted to make a quick video and show you guys the Klingon Bird of Prey. And this is the flight display. So this one, that's what makes this kit special, because they've made them before this one and they've made them after this one. But the only reason that this one was special was because of the disc. And I always thought about lighting the bottom of the base and it would illuminate the disc, and I was wondering if that would kind of shed the light across the ship. But I've got a lot of projects going on right now, so I'm not going to open this one yet. And I don't see this one in my immediate future to be building. But my friends, I just wanted to give you guys an idea of this kit, or a version of this kit. You may or may not have known that it even existed. So my friends, I thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll talk to you soon. Live long and prosper. Kapla!